This one engine has the craziest failures consistently that we've ever seen. So why is it happening? It has carnage like this, and like this that consistently happen to it. Some people ask us, well, what years does it affect? I'm going to tell you, 2001 to current, talking 2025, we see this issue. This engine, notoriously for its whole life in production, has had things like this happen. This is a broken crankshaft. So why does it happen? Is it harmonics from a bad crankshaft pulley or harmonic balancer that is bad? Is it these trucks being pushed beyond their limit? Is it somebody leaving a bolt loose? There's really nothing definitive to tell us why this is happening, but it happens. There's ways to prevent it, there's ways to upgrade it. So tell us, has there ever been an engine in history that sees these kind of catastrophic failures as much as this one does? Let me know.
We're talking about an engine that's been around for decades, and mechanics are still seeing broken crankshafts and catastrophic failures on these things. So what is actually going on with this engine? And why has this problem followed it for so many years? We're going through the failures, the possible causes, and what owners can do about it. But before we get into it, if you enjoy real mechanic stories and videos about what's actually going on under the hood, hit subscribe. We've got plenty more coming. Now, let's get into it.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We don't have one, but we have two LZO Duramax diesels, I believe 2025s, getting their engines replaced. I'm going to introduce you guys to Brian here in a second. But yeah, let's go ahead and check out the trucks. So this is basically the second one here. Cab off, and LZO went down. I'll let you guys know what they went down for, but they're basically complete replacements. So here's the old engine for the second one here. Love that inline six design. Look how tall that thing is. My goodness. That thing is tall. And then here's the legend right here. I mean, this guy, every time I see him, he has the cab off. You just continue to do this, dude. So I guess you know what you're doing, right?
Fake it till you make it, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. So what happened? Did both of these engines have the same problem, or what?
So this one, well, actually, I can kind of show you on this one.
Okay.
So what happened is the thrust bearings wore out, and it's really slight. But you can see that crank moving back and forth. It should have thousandths of an inch, right?
Okay, yeah.
And I mean, you can visibly see the movement in the crank.
What is your opinion on belt-driven oil pumps? Today we're working on a 3-liter Duramax. This is what they call the baby Duramax, and we are in here doing some maintenance work on the oil pump belt. Now, if you didn't know, these 3-liter Duramaxes have a wet belt here in the back that drives the oil pump down here. This is the crankshaft, and then we drive the camshaft on one chain, and then we have another chain that goes up to the, well, actually this goes to the pump, and then that chain goes to the cam, and then I'm guessing there's probably another chain that runs to the cam. Haven't had one of these open before. This is actually the first one of these I've seen, but GM does have a service life on this belt. They tell you to replace this thing every 150,000 miles. If you're curious what the part number is, here it is right there. It's the GM number. So to do this belt, it's actually a pretty good job. I think the book time on it's about 13 and a half hours. You do have to pull the transmission. So you do have to remove this cover right here to get it. This is the rear engine cover. Mine here feels like it's made out of damn plastic. It's very, very thin. We chose, instead of, this is actually a new one, we chose instead of buying the seal and trying to press the seal in, the seal was like 10 or 15 bucks, and this whole cover was like less than 100. So kind of figured that was a no-brainer. We went ahead and got a new cover for this thing. Silicones here on the back to seal all that up. What do you guys think about the oil pump belt? Do you think this is a bad idea? It doesn't seem like the smartest of things. I think if they were really like using their actual whole brain power, they probably could have manufactured a chain to go in here. That way people didn't have to, you know, spend $2,000 every 150,000 miles replacing a belt. Yeah, that's the point. They want you to bring it back and trade it in, probably is actually the point. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Baby Duramax, one down, many more to go.
So you own a Duramax and you're afraid of breaking a crank and you're wondering, what can you do to prevent it from happening? Hate to be the bearer of bad news, guys, but there is absolutely nothing you could do to prevent your factory crank and your Duramax from breaking. It doesn't matter if you install a fluid dampener. It doesn't matter if you install an ATI balancer. It doesn't matter if you drill your crank and put a pin in it. It doesn't matter if you install alternate firing camshaft. None of that is going to matter. Doesn't matter. You're better off leaving your truck alone, not touching anything. Nothing is going to change the fact that if your crankshaft is going to break, it's going to break. This is specifically 01 to 16 trucks. It's very, very rare to see an L5P break a crank. I've maybe only heard of one, maybe two. It's very rare, but this is specifically 01 to 16 trucks, guys. And so you might want to save your money. The only fix to a broken crankshaft in a Duramax is to install an aftermarket billet crankshaft. So take that for what you will. Sometimes I hate giving out the truth, but I see it all the time in forums where guys are, I'm going to install this on my crank, it's not going to break. Guys, they break bone stock. There's trucks that are out there making over 1,000 horsepower on a factory crank, still holding. It's a crapshoot, man. It doesn't matter if you baby the truck. It doesn't matter if you beat the crap out of the truck. If a crank's going to break, it's going to break, and there's absolutely nothing you or God himself could do to prevent your factory crank from breaking. The end.
That's a scary thing to hear if you own one of these trucks. You can baby it, leave it completely stock, take care of it, and the crank can still just let go. You're spending money on upgrades, thinking you're protecting the engine, and he's saying none of that can actually save a factory crank. If it really comes down to luck, that's a pretty bad feeling when you're driving a truck that costs this much. Do you own a Duramax? What year is it? Write in the comment.
You go ahead.
Got another example of why we don't allow pins left in our Duramax crankshaft. I got a 2011 to 2017 LML Duramax. Come here, I want to show you something. The reluctor wheel pin is broke off. I pulled the rest of the harmonic balancer pin sheared off, but this is what I want to show you. Look at the size of the counterweight on that harmonic balancer. I mean, this thing weighs, seriously, I'm guessing, let me see here, maybe 15 pounds. It's a lot of weight to be swinging around at, 3,000, 4,000 RPM and it be clocked wrong. And this is what happens. Ooh yeah, busted the crank. Now, I know a lot of people come to me and they say, well, that's because somebody did the water pump and they didn't tighten the harmonic balancer back. And again, there's no science on that. That's speculation. I see this all the time. That's why we put the keyway in the crank. I don't want this problem. Even if a guy does on my motor, puts a water pump on this, 5 years from now, and he doesn't tighten down the harmonic balancer, he's not going to have this problem. This is one of the upgrades that we do on Dave's engines.
Oh, yes! 2002 LB7 Duramax came in for a crank no start, only had one code. And stick around to the end of the video because I'm going to explain what we found on this truck, and it was not at all what we thought it was going to be. This may help you guys out there that have these trucks with the same problem. Let me tell you what we found. There's only one code to work with. We had a P0335, no communication from the crank position sensor. Pulled the pigtail off the crank sensor, verified our 12-volt reference. We ohmed out the harness from the PCM to the crank pigtail, all good. Down a little rabbit hole of some more wiring diagrams and ohming out harnesses to find out the FICM, the fuel injection control module, was bad. And that was causing the crank codes, which I have not seen before on a Duramax. I've never seen that on a LLY, which has a FICM as well, and I have not ever actually had to replace a FICM on a LB7 yet. So this was a new one, not what I was expecting, but we happen to have a used FICM here we put on there, and she fired right away. I mean, running great. So that's new for me. Hopefully that saves y'all some money, some time. I had zero codes for the FICM. I only had a PO335 for crank position sensor. That's all I had. Come to find out, the ECM actually gets its crank signal through the FICM, so that makes sense now. But very interesting. Spent a decent amount of time researching this, and hope that helps somebody out there. Also, pretty excited to wake up this morning and see Donald Trump's our new president. So hopefully business will be well for the next 4 years, and he can set us up for success in the years to come.
That's the kind of diagnosis that can save someone a ton of money. Imagine replacing the crank sensor, checking the wiring, throwing parts at it, and never finding the real problem. What's the most money you've wasted fixing the wrong problem on a vehicle? Tell us in the comments.
What are common failures that Duramax owners need to know about?
Yeah, so that all depends on the year and the era of Duramax that we got going on. I would say currently the L5Ps, most people with that 2017 and newer L5P, there's issues with injectors, injector pigtails. That's a really common one, is people having faulty injector pigtails and thinking they need a whole set of injectors. And just a nice set of quality injector pigtails replaced on there could actually solve that problem, whether it was rough running, injector codes, whatever. That's probably the go-to on the L5P. The LML, the big common one on the LML, would be the CP4 failure. Everybody talks about it. It's a thing. Swap it to a CP3, put a fast pump on it, you're good to go. Like, just a rock solid platform once you get that done. VGT turbos, all the other Duramaxes, VGT turbos is a common one, as well as injection system and kind of common diesel stuff. But that would be the big thing, would be the injection system on that 2011 to 2016 LML Duramax. That's like the Achilles heel that shuts those trucks down.
All right, Duramax owners, you want to know a very common failure point? It's going to be this bad boy right here. The crankshaft here on the front, factory, they're going to have a small little dowel right here that holds the harmonic balancer and the crankshaft gear. You can see here we've actually drilled out the crankshaft and installed a special keyway that's going to give it more surface area to grab onto. A lot of these guys in the comments are saying, well, this crankshaft breaks on this Duramax, this and this. Pull the damn front cover off and put a keyway in this thing, guys. It's cheap, it's easy, you can buy a kit. XDP has them. We're working on getting them on our website, but this area right here is going to save your crankshaft.
We got to go back to the 90s for this old girl, and she competed directly with my own 7.3 liter Power Stroke. It is the 6.5 liter Detroit diesel V8 in the GM and Chevy trucks, and this engine ran from 1992 to 2000, and it was a decent workhorse. It got the job done for most people, but in my opinion, I think the engine had a fair amount of problems. I think reliability was not its strong suit, and the engines it competed with, like the 7.3 or the 5.9, it was just nowhere near as durable. The 6.5 came with a respectable 215 horsepower, 430 pound-feet of torque, which is actually more than what this engine, this 7.3, rolled off the factory line with, at least in 1995. However, there were often complaints of this engine just being or feeling underpowered and being a little bit gutless. The 6.5 liter diesel was supposed to be a more fuel efficient option in comparison to GM's gas guzzling V8. So it was the economic choice. It wasn't really the top dog engine. That was supposed to be the 454 big block. And to me, it does feel like it's a little bit of an afterthought for GM. It's not their top priority, where Ford and Dodge had switched gears a little bit and understood that the diesel engines were going to be the future workhorses of these HD engines. I think GM was still a little bit stuck in the past with that mentality. The biggest issue with these engines was the injection pump failures, or specifically the pump driver module, or the PDM. It was on the side of the injection pump, and the injection pump was right in the middle of the banks, and it would just get too hot and, well, it would fail, causing a whole bunch of fueling problems. Additionally, these engines had harmonic balancers that would often fail, which could snap the crankshaft, cylinder heads would crack, engine blocks were known to crack, had a weak cooling system, so these engines, when they were to work somewhat hard, could often overheat. The engine also had turbo wastegate problems, and the turbo itself was tiny, which caused a lot of back pressure, which could increase the likelihood of overheating. And some of these engines even came with an EGR system, which is certainly going to reduce the life of the engine.
And honestly, that's what makes these trucks so frustrating. Sometimes the problem isn't even what the code says. You can spend hours chasing one thing and find out the real problem was somewhere completely different. That's why having a good mechanic who actually knows these trucks matters. The right diagnosis can save you a lot of time, money, and headaches. If you own a Duramax, or you've ever had a weird problem that nobody could figure out, tell us about it in the comments. And if you enjoy real mechanic stories like these, make sure you subscribe.